Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if y'all been seeing what's going on recently in Canada, but over here in Canada, we've been having this very, very strange thing going on where we're having this anti-American rhetoric happening all over Canada. I mean, it's happening with all of our politicians. They're all involved on this, and I am sick and tired of seeing how fake these people are. They're the reason why Canada looks how it looks. But Doug Ford, Danielle Smith, Drew Dilkins, Mark Carney, they're all anti-America. At least they're trying to act like they are, right? And I noticed something that's going on here. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to push division. They're trying to push segregation. They're trying to push hatred. They're trying to make people fight once amongst another. And the thing that I do not like about what our government is doing is they do not talk about the history that Canada and America shared together. A lot of history. So back in the 1920s, there was a massive explosion in Halifax, right? And you know who helped fix the problem? America. In the 1920s in Halifax, look it up. The same as the beach of Normandy. Who stormed the beach of Normandy? Canada and America together. Who took on Hitler's Germany in World War II? Canada and America together. I am not going to hear our media push this BS anymore. I am sick and tired of our media doing this. Ladies and gentlemen, can and America share history? I mean, the War of Iran, right? The War of Iran in the 1970s. Canada and America joined forces. But the media, they're not going to tell you that, right? No, they'll never tell you stuff like that. What the media will tell you is the trades, the tariffs, the blah, blah, blah. They always tell you about tariffs. But the thing that I find funny about their so-called tariffs that the government loves to talk about is the fact they'll never tell you about the dairy tariffs that Canada has on America, right? No, they will never tell you about that. And I am sick and tired. I am sick and fucking tired of the news media lying, the propaganda that has been spewed out to the public, and that continues to be spilled out to the public is absolutely sickening. The amount of deception that our news media does in this country is absolutely wrong. They have lied throughout their teeth, and they continuously do it because people in Canada are stupid enough to fall for it. People are literally brainwashed from this kind of stuff. I mean, this is where we're at. As a nation, as a country, so to say, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we are at. And people wonder why. I've been advocating for the 51st state. Let me give y'all a little example right here with the 51st state. Wayne Gretzky is a Canadian patriot who loves Donald Trump and loves America. Don Cherry, y'all know Don Cherry? He's a legend in hockey. Don Cherry is a real Canadian patriot, and he said Trump is his guy and he loves America. Don Cherry said that himself. So when our news media and our politicians want to push this anti-American rhetoric, look at the shared history Canada and America have had. Fighting together in wars. Literally, backing each other up when supply is needed and we were in demand. We backed each other up, Canada and America. And I am not going to let the media and I am not going to let our politicians destroy our beautiful friendship that we've had since the beginning of our nations. This is the problem with the media. They want to cause hatred, and that's all they want to do. One of the only politicians in Canada I haven't seen slandering Trump is Pierre Poilievre. Pierre Poilievre doesn't really slander Trump, and to be honest, I respect Pierre Poilievre for that because he understands Canada and America have always had something together. But ladies and gentlemen, it is time. It is time because we literally can't defend our own lives in Canada. All right, it's illegal to defend yourself in Canada. You can literally go to jail defending your own house in Canada. So we do not have a right for self-defense. Mark Carney's made it with Bill C-9, Bill C-22 to spy on the entire country. And basically, he can say whatever hate speech is, right? So Mark Carney can determine if he wants to lock you up or not. Yeah, that would never happen in America because America, you have something called your First Amendment right, which is your freedom of speech. But that is something we do not have in Canada. And Bill C-9, Bill C-22 proves that. This is why I said America has to annex Canada. Because when you think about it, the 51st state would benefit Canada significantly. And people say, what do you mean when you talk about this? I mean, the Canadian military would be a hell of a lot stronger if we joined America. Canada would have thousands upon thousands of more jobs, a lot more companies here. The Canadian dollar would be a lot stronger with assistance of America. We'd have self-defense rights. We'd be able to conceal carry to protect our lives. And we'd have the right to call out the government or call out anything going on in society. That is the power we would have with America. Canada would boom so much if we joined America and became the 51st state. But you got these boomers out here, right? These old-ass boomers that want Canada to suffer. These old liberals, right, that are so out of touch of society and out of touch of reality, they want Canada to suffer. They don't want to see the next generation of Canadians having a better future, but the next generation of Canadians will have a much better future joining America. These people have no idea how bad their country seriously looks. I mean, there is record high drugs all over the place right now in Canada, and it is absolutely sickening. It is. It's extremely sickening to see this, but you know what? This is the reality of Canada right now. And this is the reason why I say the 51st state is the last option for Canada, because we have did everything we possibly can to try to correct these issues, and we still cannot. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, Canada is literally in a recession right now. I mean, just think about that. We are literally in a recession. And people are going to talk about other places. People are going to say this. People are going to say that. But I love when people try to blame the tariffs, the Trump tariffs, Canada's in a recession. Well, if that's the case, then why aren't all the other countries that have tariffs on them the exact same ones as Canada in a recession? Why isn't Japan in a recession? Because it has nothing to do with the tariffs. That is our news media, and that is our politicians pointing at somebody else, right? Because this is what happens when there's Trump derangement syndrome all over the place. You have people that will blame Trump for every bitty thing, right? It has absolutely nothing to do with Trump, but it's just Trump's fault because I said his name, right? This is the problem with Canadian politicians, and I am sick and tired of each one of them, especially Mark Carney and Doug Ford. Those two, man, such hypocrites. Such hypocrites. You know, Doug Ford, it's funny when you want to talk about, oh, well, you know, we asked for America for help with the forest fires and whatever, and you're trying to be like, they didn't want to help us. Well, Mr. Dougie Ford, if you don't remember, aren't you the same one that threatened to shut off America's power during the coldest storm in American history? Y'all remember that? Y'all remember when Doug Ford threatened to shut off power? Remember that? Right? But now Doug Ford wants to change his style and try to say, oh, America, America, America. No, it's you. It's you and your little political buddies. You guys are literally the most corrupt son of a bitches to ever exist. And the politics in Canada are just going to get worse and worse and worse. And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I am sick and tired of this rhetoric coming from these people. That's all what this is. This is just rhetoric. And they will keep doing it because they're paid to do it from the higher ups, right? So like I said, ladies and gentlemen, right now, Canada is in a recession, and we're going to collapse at some point. We are going to collapse, and I don't want people always blaming Trump for every single thing, because Canada, it's time to take a look in the mirror. It's time to see what y'all voted in office and face the consequences for what you voted, because I am sick and tired of this Trump derangement syndrome all over my country. You people are insane. You blame Trump for every single thing when it's your own government's fault, right? I mean, you want to talk about gun crime in Canada, right? Violent gun crime is up 116%. Now, doesn't that seem kind of strange? Because I thought the government wanted to ban guns. Remember the gun buyback program that was supposed to stop gun crime in quotations, right? This is what they try to preach on people. This is why America has something called the Second Amendment. And this is the reason why Canada needs something like the Second Amendment. Because how are you the one that defends your property and you're the one that gets consequences for it? Where are we at as society, ladies and gentlemen? Where are we at? We are literally so ass backwards as a country. I mean, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I can go on and on about this, but Doug Ford is such the biggest hypocrite. He wants to talk about, oh, America doesn't want to help us with the wildfires. Don't forget, this was the same guy that literally threatened to shut off America's power during a winter storm. Doug Ford, the same guy. I will shut off America's power during a winter storm. But now you want to complain 4 months later that he can help you? Well, what up, Mr. Dougie? Maybe you shouldn't have went and slandered America, shouldn't you have? All right? Same as Mark Carney, same as Drew Dawkins. In this international diplomacy that we have to talk about, all right, the bridge, okay? The Gordie Howe Bridge, in my opinion, is extremely ugly. There's nothing unique about the Gordie Howe Bridge whatsoever. It looks like a pile of trash, all right? You look at the Golden Gate Bridge, you look at the Brooklyn Bridge, okay? You just look at a bridge in a different country, in a different city, whatever, and you really see the difference in how it looks, okay? You look at this Gordie Howe Bridge, and my God, does it look ugly. But ladies and gentlemen, violent gun crime in Canada is at 116%, and yet they want to take guns from citizens. It's the criminals that are doing the shootings, not the citizens. But the government will tell you that, right? No, the government will tell you everything's all fine, everything's getting better. No. The problem is Mark Carney is a banker and he's a liar. And he simply does not care for Canada's way of life at all. And what he's doing is he's bringing Brookfield assets to take over Canada. These wildfires are going to become 15-minute cities, and we're going to see control all over. And this is what happens when you elect liberals. This is what happens when you elect a failed society and keep allowing them to keep doing their inclusion, right? Oh, no, we can't charge somebody because they're different nationality. If you are a criminal and you broke the law, you should face consequences. It's that simple. But in the country we live in, nobody faces consequences, right? The same as there's extortion at 370%. You heard me, right? Extortion in Canada is at 370%. And all people are going to do is say, well, that's Trump's fault. How is that Trump's fault? It's Trump's fault that politicians in Canada don't care to lock up their criminals. Okay. Make that make a lot of sense. You know, make that make a lot of sense. This is the problem with all these politicians in Canada. They just blame Trump for every single problem that they created, right? It's always Trump's fault. This is why I can't wait for Trump to annex Canada. This is why I can't wait for Canada to become the 51st state. Because when it comes to a higher economy, Canada will do a lot better under America. When it comes to thousands upon thousands of jobs, more companies moving to Canada, America will do that for Canada. When it comes to self-defense rights and be able to protect your life, America will do that for Canada. When it comes to speaking your mind freely, America will allow Canada to have that. When it comes to the future of the youth, America will benefit Canada a lot more than what Canada's doing. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a much bigger picture, and Canada needs to join America because that is the only way Canada is going to be saved. If Canada goes through what it's going through right now for another 10 years, then this country's doomed. This country is completely smoke. It's toast. It's over. The only way Canada will ever strive again is the assistance of America. And Donald Trump, people in Canada, we beg you, annex our country, take us over. Canada needs America more than ever. And President Trump, please make Canada the 51st state.